Welcome to episode 58. I'm Luke Winstel. This is the Luke Winstel Show. Today I talked with former University of Georgia wide receiver Justin Scott-Wesley. Justin's best known by Georgia fans for his 2013 season, where he had a game-sealing 85-yard touchdown reception against South Carolina and a game-winning 25-yard touchdown catch against LSU. After that 2013 season, Justin struggled with injuries and eventually was forced to medically retire from football. Once he retired from football, Justin got into music and now owns his own company called Wesley Solutions. On the show today, we talked about his journey to playing at Georgia, his time and career playing for the Bulldogs, and what he's up to now. We'll go ahead and dive into the interview. Justin, thank you for joining me on the show today. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on, man. It's an honor.
You're welcome. I'm excited to hear from you and hear a bit of your story. So my first question, where'd you come from? What was your life like growing up?
I am from Camilla, Georgia. It's a small town, southwest Georgia. It's a little bit below Albany. I don't know if a lot of people know where it is. We have a rich tradition for basketball down there. Mitchell Baker High School, but if you're from South Georgia, I pretty much grew up, in poverty. We had everything that we needed to survive, but it's Southwest Georgia, so it is what it is. So yeah, I grew up playing sport. Basketball was my thing, just because, of the environment, the rich tradition. So I always wanted to be a hooper. But kind of found my way into football and track, and I don't know, man.
How'd you get into playing football?
I don't know, man. I just kind of gravitated to it. A lot of my friends, in South Georgia, where I'm from, man, there's not really much to do, so sports is always the thing. And when it's football season, it's football season. So I started really taking it seriously in like 8th grade. I played like middle linebacker, middle school. I always played Pop Warner, Little League, but I kind of really just started taking it seriously in 8th grade.
What was the recruiting process like for you when you were a player coming from South Georgia? How did UGA find you, and when did they get on you?
Recruiting process, I really attribute a lot of my football recruitment to track. I remember I ran track my sophomore year. That's my first year running, and I made it to state. And I wound up winning in the 200 in state, and I just remember this guy following me around. I'm like, who is this dude following me? And he gave a business card or something to a coach that was near me. I think it was like Washington County or something like that. I'm reminiscing here. But anyway, this guy walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, son, I don't know if you know who this guy is that's been following you, but this is Mike Bobo. He's the offensive coordinator for University of Georgia. He wanted me to give you this." So I'm like, "Oh man, this is crazy." So then that next Monday, Kirby Smart was at my school, and that's kind of when my recruitment started like that. And ever since then, man, it was like Rivals.com was coming, and I was going to these camps and things like this, and that's that.
When you got to UGA, you were known for making big plays and key moments. What do you think was your career highlight? Because I know you have a couple in 2013, a couple of plays with LSU and South Carolina. Do you have one that stands out to you most?
I guess it'll have to be the LSU game, just because of the nature of the game and how much hype and I guess the moment, I had really kind of solidified myself as a player on the team, and I had some other catches that game, and it was just a very competitive game. But anytime you can come up big in a big time moment for your team in a game like that, man, you just have to put that up there on any list,
Well, walk me through that moment. It was LSU, under 2 minutes on the clock. You're on the 25 or so yard line. I mean, walk me through what that was like from your perspective.
We were in 2-minute drill. 1-minute drill. We were in 1-minute drill. We were driving. It was, and I knew we had to come up big we had to score to win the game. They were kind of sitting in cover 2 the whole time, and coach called the play. We hadn't even practiced this play, and it wasn't in the game plan. And I knew they had been playing cover 2, so my biggest thing was just beat the corner and get on the outside. And once that happened, the corner wound up taking the tight end, Artie Lynch. He was kind of flexed out there with me. And I knew once I got outside, I knew all I had to do was make the catch if the quarterback threw it in the hole. Aaron, he made the throw, I made the catch, and, the rest is history.
Well, eventually, at the end of your career, you ended up having to retire from football due to injuries. When did it kind of hit you it was time to leave the sport and try to move on?
I guess it was my senior year. I tore my meniscus earlier that summer, right before going into camp. I think I go like a month right before camp, maybe like a couple weeks. And so I rehabbed, and I went through camp, and I was feeling good. Everything was good, and it was the first day of classes, and we was just running routes on air, and I kind of made a sharp cut, and I kind of tweaked it and fell. And at that point, I was like, man, I don't really want to go through this process again. I had already graduated, and I was like, look, man, it's just time to hang it up.
How'd you handle the transition from football? Because I know it can be hard for a lot of people.
It was tough. I'm not going to lie. It was tough. I had to get adjusted to some things. I had to learn a lot about money management. Had to figure out what my skill sets were outside of football, and figure out what my passions were. Because one thing about me, if I'm not passionate about something, it's going to be very hard to keep my attention. And I didn't want to be that guy. As an athlete, I strive to be the best at everything that I did. And in the real world, sometimes you get put in places where you just kind of have to be there to make ends meet. And so I kind of felt myself in places like that. And so it was just a process of figuring out what I was good at and what would keep my attention long enough.
Yeah, I totally understand. I'm that way too. So I read some articles that were talking about how you got into music after your retirement. You started recording with Sony Michel, who was a sophomore, I believe, at the time. And how did all of that come about? How did you two get together and start that creative process?
Let me see. Let me go back. So I'm just a curious mind. At Georgia, I was afforded the opportunity to take some classes that were, kind of electives, and I did a music production class. So I really learned how to, mix and master music, and did some projects and things like that. And I found out that Sony had a studio hookup in his room. He had it decked out. He had everything that you needed to make music. And once I found out that and told him that, hey, man, I know how to work the rig, and he recorded some things for me, and he laid down some tracks, and I did it for him. But it was just, like mine, linking up, and, you never know what you'll find out from a conversation. Shout out to Sony.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you still tight with Sony? Do you still talk to him?
I haven't talked to him in a while, man. He's on the football wave, and I've been to California and back, and I'm on my business. Thank you for mentioning that. I got to reach out to him.
With your music, are you still pursuing it today?
Not so much from a artist side of it. I'm kind of behind the scenes with a lot of things. I kind of work with some guys and some gals here in the community, and just advising them and really giving them some education on contract work and things like that, because I took a couple of those music business courses and did some independent study and really learned the business side of music. So I kind of, promoters and artists and people like that, I just kind of like to put some game in their ear about the contract work. So, not necessarily on the artist side, but kind of more on the business side.
Well, now I understand you're also an entrepreneur and you own Wesley Solutions. What's your business about? What are you aiming for?
So and at Wesley Solutions, we are a financial service company. Anything from, retirement planning, college planning, tax advising, have a real estate license, so also do some real estate consultation, some people, whether people want to, buy or sell or kind of invest, whether it be in, tangible assets such as, your real estate and business endeavors or, and also stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that. And so we're really all about financial literacy, taking care of your money, investing your money, and just protecting what you already have if you necessarily have a nest egg. So we're all about spreading the knowledge and just helping people out with different strategies to meet their financial needs.
Awesome. With your business, for people that would like to talk to you about that, how can they reach out to you and try to get in touch with you? I was checking out your website yesterday. What does all of that look like?
Okay, so the best way to reach me, is directly. Email. You can reach me at planning@wesleysolutions.com. That's planning at WESLEY solution solution with an S.com. That's the easiest way to hit me up. All the rest of the stuff is just marketing and things like that. You can reach me at my direct line, 229-328-2777. And, I'm not too hard to find.
Awesome. You talked about earlier how if you're not passionate about something, it's kind of harder for you to focus on. So what draws you to being a financial advisor now, kind of your, I guess, third life in terms of careers where you go through football and then you look at music and now you're into financial advising?
Well, I really figured out, I have a passion for service. After I was done playing football, I was a bartender. I waited tables, I bussed tables. And I figured out I have a passion for service, just making sure that people are comfortable and happy. And with the financial advising, this is a service job. I serve my clients. I do what's in the best need for them. And so I found a passion for, just these different financial topics. And it's a lot more satisfying than busting tables and bartending. So it's just a passion for service, man. If you want to say that in a nutshell.
Most definitely. Now, what are your goals going forward? What are you hoping to do as you've got, obviously, tons of your life ahead of you here?
Man, I'm looking to expand this business. This is my baby. I'm looking to just enjoy a career and financial planning and really help my clients, grow as I grow. I'm looking to expand and hire on some administrative staff. If some guys and gals out there looking for some opportunities, some internship opportunities, or even if you're just looking to explore, the financial industry, you guys hit me up. Same email, same phone number. But yeah, I'm just really looking on building this business and enjoying, the life of an entrepreneur.
Now it's time for our rapid fire section. I've got 3 questions for you to finish out the show.
Uh-oh.
We'll start with a tough one. If you could have dinner with any living person, who would it be and why?
That's tough. LeBron James. He's so influential, man. I think he's a cultural figure. He transcends, race, gender, anything like that. So, he's a modern day guy, modern day icon. So, LeBron.
Well, rapid fire question number 2. Since you're a big music guy, what does your playlist look like right now?
Ooh, boy. Oh, my playlist, man. I got a wide range, man. I listen to a lot of, I listen to hip hop. I love R&B, 90s R&B. I like jazz, kind of calm my nerves. You know, my girl, she has me on this Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey craze. So, you know, I listen to everything. Some Coldplay in there. Love me some Coldplay. And right now, man, I guess my biggest artist right now is Kendrick Lamar. Kind of looking for a little bit more from him in 2020.
Nice. Yeah, Kendrick's been one of my favorites ever since, I think it was his album in 2011, Good Kid, Mad City. That's always been my favorite from him.
Oh yeah. That was 2012, man. That was a good year.
Awesome. My final rapid fire question for you. You played with a lot of really talented guys at UGA, a lot of guys that have gone a long way in their football careers. Does anyone stand out? Who's the most talented guy that you played with?
Oh, talent, man! I played with a lot of great guys, man. That's a hard one. Jeez. Okay, man, you got to think, man. I played with Todd Gurley.
Right.
I was on the team with Chris Conley. I was on the team with Sony Michel. I was on the team with Leonard Floyd. I was on the team with Jarvis Jones and who else? Avery Jones is down in the league, man. Isaiah McKenzie was a good athlete, man. Javaris King, I was on the team with all these guys, man. If I had to give it to one guy, man, I have to say Lorenzo Carter.
Wow, okay. I remember...
But you gotta, listen, man, like, people might think, like, I'm just, like, a fanboy of this guy, man, but I rave about how just a great of an athlete this guy is. Like, he's, like, 6'7" something. You know what I'm saying? 230, 240, 250, 60 something. You know what I'm saying? If you ever seen him, you know what I'm saying? It's a different kind of physique for that type of athlete. And so, from an athletic standpoint, man, he's one of the most athletic guys I've seen.
Yeah, I remember I covered and followed recruiting when he was getting recruited to UGA, and I was thinking, man, this guy is really going to be something, and, he's turned out pretty well for sure. But, yeah, interesting choice. I like it. Justin, that's all the questions I had for you. Thank you for joining me on the show. I appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. It's an honor. Pleasure.
Thank you again to Justin for taking the time to join me on the show. It was great getting to talk with him. Coming next on the Luke Winstel Show, I talked with Nick Elam, a basketball innovator, about this concept he designed called the Elam ending. TBT, the basketball tournament, and the NBA are just a couple of leagues that have adopted a version of this ending. What is the Elam ending? How is it affecting the game of basketball? You'll find out on episode number 59. That concludes today's podcast. This has been episode number 58 of The Luke Winstel Show.